Hi everyone, welcome to thefactionist.com. Today we are going to talk about John Mackey's editorial on the Wall Street Journal relating to healthcare reform. This is my friend Claire Friedman.
Hello.
We're going to have a little discussion about it today because we have slightly differing views on the topic. But it's very interesting because, as you know, John Mackey, CEO of Whole Foods, Whole Foods, also known as Whole Paycheck, we're famous for their $4 tomatoes and all such liberal things. But he wrote this article, Wall Street Journal, about healthcare reform. We have it pulled up right here. That's why I'm looking at it. Also going to link it in the video.
It's right there.
Yep. I'll do that in post. Throw that in later. All right. It was a couple of points on what he thinks healthcare reform should be, blah, blah, blah. But the blogosphere, the internet digerati, as it were, are up in arms over this whole thing. 15,000 upvotes on Reddit on, this is the headline, Whole Foods CEO John Mackey shot his company in the face the other day with an anti-healthcare op-ed screed in the Wall Street Journal. He's managed to piss off his company's core demographic, liberals and progressives, and in the process enable a boycott that could actually work. What do you think?
Alright, well, the first time I read this article, I kind of passed it by because it was not nearly as kind of crazy and off the wall as a lot of conservative pundits have been saying on TV and on radio and in print right now. It's pretty reasonably stated argument for the most part, but I think that he made a couple mistakes, especially in talking about his own company. I mean, I think it was relevant when he talked about his employees, but when he talked about using organic and healthy foods as a viable preventative and related that to obesity and everything, while I think that's a valid point, I think he should have stayed away from that being the CEO of Whole Foods. And I think it sucks for him that Wall Street Journal changed the title of his article to...
Yes, we should mention, if you go a little bit further down in the comments on the Reddit, which I'm going to link to, there is an email from Whole Foods to their employees basically stating that John is writing for... Here it is. John is writing for his own opinion and not for the company. The company has no official position on healthcare reform. And that, direct quote, in answer to, John wrote an op-ed piece called Simply Healthcare Reform. An editor at the Journal rewrote the headline to call it Whole Foods Alternative to Obamacare.
See how it catches your eye more?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that hurts though. That sucks. That's a big...
And apparently they attached the unedited version that John submitted to the paper.
Yeah.
And John is posting it to his blog where people can read it as was intended. Actually, I'll link to that too. I have not read that yet.
And I mean, I think he brings up some really good points, but I think what he's missing is that insurance companies have a lot of lobbyists in Washington that are not only fighting public health care right now, but they're fighting for almost all of the reforms that he's been talking about. And while they could get pushed through, I think there's going to be a lot of pushback, and it's almost easier to come up with an overriding public option rather than trying to change these policy views on insurance companies, which are a lot harder to get people riled up about and to get people kind of following, even though they're having a difficult time as is getting people to speak out about town hall meetings about supporting a public option for healthcare.
Well, I mean, I guess the reason I wanted to do this video and the reason I was so kind of irritated at the response to this is that I don't feel like John Mackey made a shot-in-the-face move.
Yeah.
And I think that it was... I don't know if it was like in response to this, but I read that he thinks it was an error in judgment, but not an error of opinion. And, it's not his fault that the Wall Street Journal changed the title. If you read the article, he makes no mention of Obama in the entire article.
Nope.
And 75% of it is bringing up his own points rather than taking down what the bill is right now. I think he made maybe a little bit of a baiting move by starting off with a Margaret Thatcher quote, That was probably not the best idea. But to say that you need to boycott a company because the guy, you don't agree with the guy on healthcare reform?
Yeah, I don't like that. I mean, if you're shopping at Whole Foods, you're shopping there for a reason, and it's because of Whole Foods' whole promise of organic foods and fair trade foods and stuff like that, and everything you promise like that, and the company is still going to offer that. And I mean, he makes a very clear point off talking about, and was very open about, how good of healthcare he gives employees that work as few as 30 hours a week.
I thought that's what made his article so, why I liked it so much, was because he's like, you know, this is why I support these like different reforms, and you know the title of the Reddit's off because he's not anti-healthcare reform. He's not.
Yeah.
He's anti whatever the bill is right now. I lost my point.
Well, I mean, I think that this whole boycott point is almost as bad as trying to mask the issue of public health care with the stuff that conservative pundits on TV like Glenn Beck have been doing with talking about death panels and things like that.
Yeah.
That's not the issue, and I think by focusing concern on things like this is taking away from debating the actual points of the issue, which I think John Mackey was trying to do in the first place.
Right. And I guess what gets me so irritated about this entire healthcare debate is that I don't think anyone really knows what we're debating.
No one does. There's 4 or 5 bills in different committees in Congress right now. There's not even a healthcare bill to debate.
Right. No one even knows what we're talking
Yeah.
about. Like, so we're just firing shots at each other about, you know, things that aren't really in the bill, or like, you know, death panels, or everyone's got to be on public health care, which I'm 95% sure isn't in any of the bills.
That's not in any
You know,
of the bills.
we're going for a public health care provider that's open to everybody, this public option that Obama's been talking. He's always talking about. He's never said that we're all going to be pushed from private insurance.
And I mean, people are right. Like John Mackey, I think, makes this point in the article, though I'm not sure he's using the same stats I am, but Medicare is going to be broke by 2040.
I know.
I
was like, you know what? All right, John Mackey, well played. Like, we're already going 1.9 trillion into a deficit this next year, and Medicare is not going to keep going the way it's been going because we're going to run out of money.
Yeah. And I mean, one of the biggest points that Obama's been making, and one of the points in the healthcare bill, is about preventative care, which he talks about. Because, what is it, 1/3 of Americans are obese, and they cost 150% of the average person's regular costs in healthcare. Like, that's dragging us down right now.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that overlaps with, like, an inordinate amount of people living under the poverty line are obese because it is so much cheaper and so much more convenient to get foods that are not healthy for you. And so I know, I think it was Whole Foods actually that ran a campaign trying to get more fruits and vegetables out to those places that don't typically get them. And they're not really helping with the prices of their food, but
John Mackey is a good guy, and I'll defend him on this because I've seen him speak before. I like his opinions on most things. I mean, he talks about conscious capitalism as kind of his shtick, and how
who says that?
How he doesn't. No. Wait, what?
No, you talk about that as well.
Oh yeah. Well, okay, me too. And John and I, we think very similarly on these things, and how, you know, not every for-profit company is just some full of greedy people that just don't want to do any good for anyone. I mean, you know, he runs one of the biggest organic supermarkets in America. So the losers on this one: Wall Street Journal, Cable News.
Not John Mackey.
Not John Mackey. John, you're an alright guy.
Yeah.
So
Bloggers.
that's it.
People on Reddit.
Respond in the comments. We want to hear what you think. And that's it. If I post something like John Mackey, please don't boycott my company. That's it. See ya.
Bye.